And this, my friends, this possibility is what gives us so much power. Oh, I like the excitement you've come with to learn this new lesson in our tutorial on how to run Sacms. Which, if you don't know what that word means, I've made an entire playlist on it, linked down below, which I highly recommend you watch. Now, every now and again, when you try to run one of our Sacms, you're gonna run into someone like Javed Akhtar and his rational ideas and logic and everything, who's gonna try and foil our plans. People are gonna start listening to him and thinking, which is like the worst thing for us. So, in this lesson, we're gonna learn how to handle people like that. And what better place to start than the famous debate between him and our Sacm master Sadhguru, whom some people like to disrespectfully call Jaggi Bhai, but not us, isn't that right? Without further ado, my name's Pranav, you're watching Science is Dope. Let's begin. This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and YouTube. If you wish to support me, you can find the links below. Okay, so there's this 40-minute video of the entire debate which you can go watch, but I'm not gonna play the entire 40-minute thing here. And plus, I can't watch a video that long
without a Subway Surfers gameplay playing on the side.
And I'm sure you don't want to watch it either. So what I'm gonna do is watch this other video which seems to have condensed all the main points into just 12 minutes by this channel called Krishna Raja Rao. What does it say? Urban Naxal? Oh right, he's one of those guys. It seems this video is supportive of Javed Akhtar and not Jaggi Bhai, Sadhguru. But that doesn't matter. We're gonna use this video to cut through the points of Javed Akhtar. And it's gonna be a challenge for me too. I like a challenge. Let's begin.
When you were born, you were not made like this, isn't it? You were so small. Now this much happened, how? So what you call as my body is an accumulation. Yes?
Is an accumulation.
It's an accumulation. It's just a piece of planet that you accumulate through the food that you eat. What you call as my mind is a heap of impressions which you also accumulate over a period of time. So your body is an accumulation, your mind is an accumulation. What you accumulate, at the most you can claim it's yours, but you cannot say it's me, isn't it? So what the hell are you? Never been looked at, isn't it? You're making assumptions. So your personality, your ideologies, everything picked up, everything accumulated.
Very logical point here by Sadhguru. Your mind is an accumulation and it may be yours, but it's not you. Let's see what Javed Akhtar replies with.
Now, when you say that whatever a mind is accumulated, my body is accumulated, that is not me. It is like saying that as long as you can peel the onion, you are not finding the onion. These skins are the onion. This accumulation is me. If you eradicate this accumulation, I don't exist.
Okay, this is gonna be harder than I thought. I'm gonna need a new script. See, you can't go into a debate like this with no preparation. We're gonna need to do some groundwork first, because otherwise it's just your logic versus his logic. And you wanna take logic out of the equation. Fortunately for you, people are easily convinced without logic. Here's what you do. We already have an audience that's been listening to us for years now. They need to get an image in their heads every time they hear the word atheist. And how do we do that? Spread misconceptions about atheists among your followers.
See, if you believe there is God, or if you believe there is no God, you're in the same boat. You believe something that you do not know.
An atheist is someone who believes there is no God. He believes something he can't possibly know, which makes it worse. He is a blind believer, asserting things he does not know. With such confidence, you have to preach this to your audience so much that whenever they come across an atheist, this preconceived notion must come to their mind. An atheist is someone with extremely flawed thinking and clearly they know nothing.
इसको बिल्कुल नहीं आता, मैं इसको बिल्कुल सिखा दूंगा.
I mean, when someone sees the beauty of nature and the wonders of creation, how can they deny a creator, right? Now we should come back to this clip and watch it again.
These skins are the onion. this accumulation is me. If you eradicate this accumulation, I don't exist.
Oh my god, his logic still works. It's perfect. Beats Sadhguru's point completely. Relax. Let me tell you a thing or two about human psychology. Okay? People are far more emotional than logical. Most of them won't look at the logic of a person or the point he's made. They look at how he's saying it. Emotions. I told you. And how is he saying it? Look at the arrogance with which he's speaking against Sadhguru. Your followers will combine this with the image they already have of atheists. Fools with flawed thinking. And this one is arrogant on top of that, and he's clearly come with an agenda of turning people against Sadhguru. They look at it from this angle and not pay attention to any of that logic. As far as they're concerned, he's just using his flawed thinking to logically put forward his agenda, which is clearly that he hates Sacm and other spiritual gurus because he's a bloody leftist. See how we completely turned this situation in our favor? There are ways of winning a debate other than with logic. Your counterpoint need not be nuanced, logical, or layered like Javed Akhtar's onion. You can just strawman him and win the argument easily. Now, why did I say earlier that we were spreading misconceptions about atheists? I'll explain, but only because I want you to be aware of the Sacm that you're running. You yourself can't be in the dark, right? How can you be on top then? Okay, so come here. An atheist is someone who doesn't believe in a god, not someone who believes there is no god. It's simple. A theist believes there is a god, and atheist sees no sufficient reason to believe that, so he doesn't believe. I mean, think about it. Let's take aliens on other planets as an example. There are three cases. They do exist, they don't exist, or they may exist, but we haven't found any reason to think they do. It's stupid to think that these are the only two possibilities when there's clearly a third. You can be a believer in the existence of aliens, an alienist, or you can be a non-believer because you don't have sufficient reason to believe in them yet, an alienist. The same way, a god may or may not exist, but an atheist sees no sufficient reason to believe in it, so he doesn't believe. That is different from saying something like he believes there is no God, or even he is sure there is no God. All these things like the beauty of nature, etc., doesn't need God as an explanation if you understand things like biology and evolution. But you need to keep telling everyone that an atheist thinks there is no God. Only then your followers will think that atheists are stupid. Hey, atheists believe in something they can't possibly know. See how easy that was? Let's keep watching.
This data you gathered through the agencies of five senses, by seeing, by hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. This is the way it's gone into you. These five senses are not reliable. In the sense, if I touch this table, my hand will tell me it's cool. But if I lower my body temperature and touch it, my hand will tell me it's warm. So it doesn't say anything about that. It only tells me the information that is necessary for my survival. If survival is all you're seeking, these five senses are okay. But if you're seeking something beyond survival, you need to expand the dimension of your perception.
Very well said, Sadhguru. Dimension. When people hear that only, they will melt in their seats. Also, yes, I am someone who's seeking more than just survival. I want to know the nature of this creation. And who's gonna teach me? A spiritual master like Sadhguru, not some bloody atheist. Anyway, let's see what his reply is.
The first thing a spiritualist will do will try to shake your confidence in the five senses that you have. Only then he can control you.
Agenda shining through here, just saying.
Now, if you think that you will believe on any other thing, then take a person, do an operation on him, disconnect him with his brain, and then let us see how he expands his personality.
I mean, what's he even saying at this point? Operation to disconnect a person's brain? Such dark satanic thoughts can only come from the twisted mind of an atheist. Am I right?
Whatever expansion happens in your mind. And You cannot undermine it. And whoever suggests that that is to be undermined is playing a very dangerous game with you.
Oh, don't listen to Sadhguru. Don't listen to Sadhguru. He's playing a dangerous game with you. We can guess the rest of what you're going to say, Javed. I think we've had enough of this. Now, it's important to consider the significance of what Sadhguru just said. He said you have only 5 senses which are clearly limited. For instance, your eyes can see only a narrow band of colors. Anything outside of this is invisible to you. The same goes for all your other senses. Hearing, touch, taste, smell. They all have a finite range of sensations, and anything outside of this cannot be detected by us. But then, can we say that such a thing does not exist? No, it's possible that they do exist. And this, my friends, this possibility is what gives us so much power. It's possible that a God may exist. It's possible that there's life after death. It's possible my dead great-grandfather's ghost may still be haunting me because his last rites weren't done properly. I'm sorry, great-grandpa. Now, no atheist can come forward and disprove any of what I've said. How can you disprove something you can't even detect? They don't know that you can't prove it exists either. But we must say that it's possible, because possibility is everything. You have no idea what people are willing to do in the name of possibility. They will pray for the possibility of a better future. They will go to astrologers and palm readers for the possibility of relieving their anxieties. And they will come to us Godmen for the possibility of solving their life's problems. Our business will be evergreen for as long as humans have human problems. I'm telling you, you take this course and you'll be driving expensive cars, buying expensive bags, while telling everyone to stay away from Moh Maya. Let's move on to the next point.
After all, you and me are mortal, whatever we may do. When you understand you're mortal, naturally the question of what is beyond, where did I come from, where will I go, this is naturally in the purview of human intellect. See, if you are not given ready-made answers by somebody, it is very, very natural that every human intellect will inquire, where did I come from, where will I go, what is the nature of my existence?
Sadhguru is absolutely right here. See, any person who has the semblance of an intellect will wonder, what is the purpose of my being here? It's an existential question. The fact that we can ask these questions is what makes us human. And who do we go to for answers? Someone wise, someone old, someone with a lot of experience. Hey, that's what our scriptures tell us. Someone with a long beard, indicating all that wisdom and experience. Someone like Sadhguru. Why do you think we have to grow our beards long and sometimes dye it greyish white to give the appearance of wisdom? You think we like having our beards get messy every time we eat a burger? I'm sorry, Sattvic food only. How about every time we drink tea or buttermilk? Why do we still keep the beard? Because it's good for business. Now here's the good news for us. By virtue of the fact that they're humans, they'll have human problems. And so they're predisposed to come to us Babas because they'll want answers to all the questions they have. Told you, evergreen business. And here's the best part. You don't even have to have all the answers or any answers for that matter. You just have to learn to say something profound, something rhetorical, something deep, something that seems like you've answered their question. By the way, I've done a short guide on how you can answer these questions in this video, which I'll link up here. You can check that out after you're done with this one. Now, let's see what Javed Akhtar's reply is.
Why we are in this universe? What are we doing here? Why have we come here? I don't want to comment about anybody else's presence. But Guruji, I know why I'm in this universe, and the reason is unprintable.
And the reason is?
Unprintable.
Typical arrogant atheist.
It is a pompous question that why I am in this universe. It is a pompous question what I am doing here. Have you ever thought of a mosquito? Why this mosquito is here in this world?
I mean, what's he even saying at this point other than something to counter Sadhguru? I mean, I hate having to deal with people like this.
There is, as far as life quality is concerned, there is no difference between a rodent and a human being, between a mosquito and a human being. The only difference is the mind. And this is the difference they want to eradicate.
Need I even say anything at this point? I mean, all you have to do is develop some anti-atheist biases among your audience, and that'll do all the work for you. This man can never answer any of the deep questions that people have or resolve their anxieties. All he can do is put forward an agenda. And don't be disheartened by all that vocal minority atheist audience that's cheering for Javed. There are far more people in this country that would rather choose Sadhguru over Javed Akhtar.
If I tell somebody, don't smoke, don't do this, don't do that, they will not do that. They'll anyway continue to do it, or other kinds of compulsions will take them over. But if you teach them a method through which they're able to manage the chemistry of who they are.
We have to subtly advertise our course every chance we get. A course that's gonna fund our lavish lifestyle. And just in case, we're also gonna add this.
Today there is substantial medical and scientific evidence. It is no more belief system. There is substantial scientific and medical evidence. Today, research has gone into the University of California, has done an enormous research on the simple Shambhavi Mahamudra, the basic practice that we teach. 3 months of practice, the neuronal rejuvenation in your brain is 241% more than the average.
A perfect example of a study. An atheist wants evidence. Here's your evidence. Also, don't worry, I will go through this study myself and do detailed analysis on it as soon as I can read it myself. Or even better, maybe someone has made a video on it with some GTA gameplay on the side. Let's hope that's there. Subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Now let's get back to this video and see what this atheist says.
I really find it highly amusing. It's very interesting that it is in religion, it is in spirituality. The moment they find something in science which is compatible, they start respecting science. They say, look, now even the science has accepted it. But the moment science is opposing them, then it is not credible at all.
Oh my God, we've never said science is not credible at all. We have only said that science deals with the domain that can only be perceived by these 5 senses that we have. Science has no way of knowing anything that occurs outside of these 5 senses. Is there a possibility of a higher power existing there? But how can we expect an agenda-driven mind like Javed Akhtar to understand that?
And what is the difference between faith and belief? I believe I'm in Goa. I believe there is a place called North Pole. I believe that Ethiopia is a poor country. I believe that Germany is a rich country. Is it my faith? Why it is not my faith? I'll tell you why it is not my faith and why it is my belief, because it is reasonable. Anything, any belief which is devoid of logic, reason, rational, evidence, witness, that is faith.
So, Javed sir, are you saying that our scriptures are unreasonable? Can you disprove that they were handed down directly from God? That's right, I don't think so. In fact, till the day you disprove it, there will be believers who rest their hopes on this possibility and us Godmen to service them. Come here, I'm confident that he can never disprove it because the idea itself is unfalsifiable. How are you even gonna test it?
You know, we just saw Ramanujan, for instance. He was intuitive. He didn't know how he arrived at that math, but he arrived at it. I have absolutely no argument with the fact that reason is the highest condition of man as we understand it. But is there not space for something beyond our empirical understanding?
Haha, gotcha. Brilliant question by our host here. Remember to always bring up the example of Ramanujan when dealing with people like Javed Akhtar. Because Ramanujan got all the answers for his mathematical problems from his family goddess in his dreams. And that's what made him one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. If that isn't supernatural, I don't know what is. Let's see what Javed Akhtar says.
Of course there is, but there is no halo around it. There is nothing like spiritual about it. When you look at the fan, and that the fan is running on full speed, you can't see the blades. It doesn't mean there are no blades. You know, when you think very quickly, you may not see the reason, but when you will sit back and analyze it, if the conclusion is right, then there is a logical step behind it.
All right, Mr. Javed Akhtar, he seems to have a reply to everything, explaining away even our grades like Ramanujan, how disrespectful of Indian culture. Can't expect anything better from an anti-national. Now this is how you respond to it. Can you prove it? What you just said. Can you prove that Ramanujan's results were purely a result of his logical reasoning that he wasn't aware of? I bet you can't. No matter how hard you try, I bet you can't. So doesn't that mean there is a possibility that the goddess came in his dreams and gave him all the answers and made him the greatest mathematician of all time? The possibility?
Faith is, in its refined form, not as religion, not as public religion, but as faith, can sometimes be the impulse for also the most noble of human endeavor, whether it's in art.
There's no doubt about it. The faith can make you do wonderful things, and the worst thing possible. These suicide bombers are people of faith. If they would have been reasonable, they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, and don't forget flying planes into buildings. See, that's a thing about faith. There is a right faith and a wrong faith. People like Sadhguru are the champions of the right faith, and everything else is the wrong faith. And how do you figure out which is the right faith and which is the wrong faith? Moving on.
What about the ultra-rationalists, the communists, the Stalinist regimes?
Haha, gotcha again. Always bring up this point when dealing with an atheist. The Stalinist, Maoist, atheist regimes have killed more people than any religion in history. Let's see how this atheist handles that.
No, they are not rationalists. They are communists. They have faith. They believe in communism. I am not only against religion or spiritualism, which is the debris of religion. I am against faith. If communism is your faith, then you are as bad as a religious person.
I like how his mind operates. If he accepts communists as atheist rationalists, then it looks bad for his agenda, and that's the only reason why he's rejecting them. Don't think we don't see through your twisted atheist logic.
If you don't live with a belief system, what do you live with? You're talking of extremities, but
how about common sense?
Common sense, my ass. If common sense was all people needed, they wouldn't come to us to get Sacmed. People's psychologies are such that they need some sort of external reassurance. If not from some Baba or some religion, then at least from some astrology or tarot cards that pretend to tell people's destiny. People don't care if it's true or not. They just care if some external authority that seems wise tells them that. Then as far as they're concerned, it must be true. What's next? Oh damn, the video is over. I was just beginning to have fun. Well, anyway, I think maybe this video has gone too long already. Oh well, I guess we'll have to watch the next one and comment on that. Anyway, if you like my content, you can support me by any of these methods which I've shown you on screen, which I've also linked below. I'm also trying to grow a generous community of supporters who can donate me helicopters and get me on appearances on international podcasts like Sadhguru. These are the wonderful people who've already taken a step in that right direction. If you like this video, you should watch all the videos on this playlist, especially this recent one I did on how to run these Sacms. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, remember, science is dope.